honourable members, we shall continue with the lineup of our betting order, and I will now invite the next speaker, the Honourable Kithan Lal, to make his contribution.
Honourable Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Cabinet Ministers, Members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, Bolavinaka, Namaste, Assalamu Alaikum, and a very good evening to you all. Honourable Speaker, I rise to thank His Excellency the President of the Republic of Fiji for his most gracious address to this Honourable House. Honourable Speaker, the President has reminded us rightly that this Parliament must be judged not by noise, but by outcomes, not by speeches, but by service. But before I begin my response to His Excellency's address, I want to remind this House something I said in this chamber in 2024 as per Hansard record. 14 months into the life of this coalition government, I warned that this coalition government was becoming a dysfunctional and delusional government, one that failed to deliver on its promises it made to its people before the election. At the time, Mr. Speaker, sir, some of my colleagues on the other side laughed. Some dismissed those concerns as opposition politics. But today, in 2026, the people of Fiji can see that those warnings were not politics. They were factual observations which stand correct today. Honourable Speaker, in 2024, I said that this coalition government had inherited a nation that was stable, united, and economically resilient despite the global challenges of the pandemic. Mr. Speaker, sir, I said that all the coalition needed to do was maintain sound policies and continue the economic momentum that had been built. Instead, what we witnessed over the past 3 years is a government that has managed to turn everything into uncertainty, confidence into doubt, and progress into stagnation. Mr. Speaker, sir, the reality today is that many of the fears raised by the opposition and by many Fijians have unfortunately come true. Mr. Speaker, sir, investment confidence has weakened. Hundreds of our most qualified, skilled, and experienced citizens continue to leave our shores in search for opportunities elsewhere. The brain drain that we warned about has accelerated. Mr. Speaker, sir, and every time another young professional individual boards a plane at Nadi International Airport with a one-way ticket, it is not just a personal decision. It is a vote of no confidence in the direction this coalition government has taken the country. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to acknowledge from His Excellency's words that should echo through this chamber all year round. I quote, "History will judge this Parliament not by the sharpness of its debate, but by the wisdom of its outcome," unquote. Mr. Speaker, sir, if that is the standard, then let us be honest about what the people are experiencing outside this chamber. Because right now, Fijians are not asking for poetry or drama. Fijians are asking for prices to come down, wages to stretch, roads to be safe, hospitals to function, and leaders to follow the rule of law. Mr. Speaker, sir, that is the wisdom of outcomes that families measure every day, at the supermarket, at the bus stop, at the pharmacy counter, and pothole-filled roads at night. Mr. Speaker, sir, recently, Minister for Foreign Affairs also spoke about history and said, I quote, "History will judge how we govern, not just what we build," unquote. And I actually agree with him, Honourable Speaker. But I don't think this government understands that history is already taking notes and it's not writing a glowing report for this government in Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, if history is judging governance by this coalition government, then what exactly will it see? History will see portable cameras going up without warning signs, punishing drivers instead of fixing roads. It will see roads so badly maintained that potholes are turning into lava pits. Mr. Speaker, sir, it will see many allegations hanging over ministers. Mr. Speaker, sir, history will see hospitals struggling while leaders make speeches about progress. History will see families crushed by the rising cost of living while government talks about economic recovery. History will see drugs spreading while communities feel less safe. History will see businesses struggling under the policies that change faster than cabinet portfolios. History will see people losing trust in institutions that were supposed to be independent. History will see road humps built with ideas that look like they came from 1985 engineering textbook. Mr. Speaker, sir, history will also see endless cabinet reshuffles like government is playing musical chairs instead of running a country. It will see commission inquiries burning taxpayers' money while ordinary Fijians count coins at the supermarket. It will see leaders traveling the world while problems at home multiply. It will see teachers waiting for appointments while students wait for teachers. And it will see more, Mr. Speaker, sir. So yes, history will judge. The problem for this government is that history doesn't read press releases. History reads outcome. History reads the struggles of ordinary Fijians. Mr. Speaker, sir, when we talk about good governance, Fijians are frustrated about various allegations against various institutions such as Fiji Sports Council, FICAC, Judicial Services Commission, our Fiji Police Force, Fiji National University, and while many allegations surface over social media and other media platforms, our people struggle daily. Mothers and fathers who are backbone of Fiji are trying to make a better life for their families. That is the lived reality of a single mother in Rekeniwai deciding between bus fare and lunch money. That is the retired army pensioner waiting for their aftercare fund or increment and choosing between medication and electricity. And that is the young couple postponing building a home because everything is more expensive and the future feels less stable. Honorable Speaker, so let me put in plain language for this chamber. GDP figures don't cook dinner. Press releases by this coalition government don't pay rent. Slogans by these ministers don't reduce school expenses. This government had 3 years, Mr. Speaker, sir, and as we move into an election year, the question ordinary Fijians are asking is simple. Where is the change they were promised? And here is the truth, Mr. Speaker, sir, that will fit in one sentence and one headline. This government promised better, but delivered harder. Harder to afford basic groceries, harder to do business with policy uncertainty, harder to trust institutions when independence is questioned, harder to believe in accountability when standards appear selective. And Mr. Speaker, sir, the people are not confused. They are simply tired. His Excellency also reminded the nation that democracy must be sustained by the respect for the rule of law. He spoke about constitutional governance and the Constitution as a living document, but also the need for transparency, public accountability, and national interest. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to put on record a principle that should never be controversial in this House or in this nation. No minister is above the 2013 Constitution. No government is bigger than the law. No political deal is stronger than the nation's supreme document. That must be our baseline, Honorable Speaker. So when the public sees confusion, inconsistency, or two-speed approach to accountability, one for the standard for ordinary Fijians and one for the powerful, trust collapses, Mr. Speaker, sir. And Mr. Speaker, sir, when trust collapses, the nation pays a price. Investors hesitate. Public servants become cautious. Communities become cynical. And young people learn the wrong lesson that connections matter more than rules. That is not the Fiji our forefathers have envisioned. That is not the Fiji the President described when he spoke of unity, integrity, and good governance. Mr. Speaker, sir, independent institutions must be independent in reality, not only in the name. Mr. Speaker, sir, oversight bodies must function without fear or favor. Investigations must be timely, credible, and appointments must be based on merit, not political convenience. Because, Mr. Speaker, sir, when institutions bend, citizens break, they lose faith, and when faith is lost, division grows. Mr. Speaker, sir, the President also gave this House a timely warning. I quote, as we move towards an election year, the tone you set in this House will shape the health of our democracy tomorrow, unquote. I agree, Honorable Speaker. Elections must be a contest of ideas, not fear, not division, not ethnic tension. So let me make my commitment clear. I will campaign on the struggles of ordinary Fijians that I speak to daily. Honorable Speaker, but let the government also understand this. In an election year, you cannot hide behind speeches. You have to answer to receipts. Receipts at the supermarket, receipts at the pharmacy, receipts for school expenses, and receipts for the vehicle damages they repair. Mr. Speaker, sir, so far we have received many promises, but no receipts. Little to no action. Mr. Speaker, sir, but we have seen a whole lot of alleged scandals. instances of alleged abuse by ministers being investigated, more public officials being investigated, and a drug war, a HIV pandemic, and many more, Mr. Speaker, sir. When we talk about issues, Mr. Speaker, there's a big list. I will need another 24 hours for this. But here are a few issues that people have shared with us, and we are bringing here to the Parliament so that our government can listen and action them. Nightclub owners across the country are still waiting for trading hours to be revised back to 5 a.m. Restoring those hours will not only support the hospitality sector, but also stimulate our nighttime economy. When nightlife thrives, taxi drivers earn more, small food vendors and barbecue stalls do better, and many ordinary Fijians find opportunities to earn an honest living late into the night. This is not just about entertainment, it is about economic activity and livelihoods. Mr. Speaker, sir, while some businesses are waiting for relief, the ordinary Fijians are battling a more frustrating problem every single day: traffic congestion. Recently, someone posted on social media that they would vote for a leader who could simply solve this traffic problem. The post went viral, and it shows how people feel about this issue. The solutions are not complicated, Mr. Speaker, sir. We have suggested that police presence on roads between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. could significantly improve traffic flow during peak hours. Instead of experimenting with poorly designed road humps everywhere, we should be looking at smarter infrastructure solutions. For example, in areas like Tamavua, near the Wailuku Junction, overhead pedestrian walkways would help reduce congestion and improve safety. Similarly, in Waimalika in Sambeto, unnecessary road humps have been constructed near schools that now cause massive traffic buildups. While safety is important, poorly planned infrastructure should not punish hardworking Fijians trying to get to work on time. Mr. Speaker, sir, another serious concern is the increasing flooding in areas that historically never used to flood. The reason is simple. Drains are not being cleaned properly. The rivers are not being dredged regularly. And when maintenance is ignored, even a small rainfall begins to feel like a natural disaster. The people see this, Honourable Speaker, yet the government remains strangely silent. Mr. Speaker, sir, our copra industry in Vanua Levu should not be forgotten in this whole chapter. They are in need of important infrastructure like power and roads. Our copra industry should be revived with more eloquent government support, subsidy for machineries including boreholes and copra dryers. Mr. Speaker, sir, as we all know, the world is grappling with this war that is happening in the Middle East, and Fiji will be the one that will bear the consequences. Mr. Speaker, sir, I urge the government to reduce VAT to 9% and also remove 20 cents on the fuel. Mr. Speaker, sir, government currently has 20 cents tax on fuel. My suggestion to the government is during this war is currently being conducted by US on Iran and the Middle Eastern countries, maybe the government can put a relaxation on the 20 cents tax and maybe bring it back whenever the war finishes. I don't know when, but when. But Mr. Speaker, sir, instead of addressing all these pressing issues, the new Minister for Finance has decided to blame Fijians for drinking grog too much as the reason our kava exports are not growing. Mr. Speaker, sir, Fijians are already struggling with the cost of living, traffic congestion, flooding, and failing infrastructure. And grog and other exports are not growing. The last thing they need is to be told that their problem exists because they drink too much grog. The President has called for unity in diversity, sustainability and resilience, Mr. Speaker, sir, integrity and good governance. They are noble principles, but the measure of leadership is whether those principles are reflected in daily lives. So I say this, Mr. Speaker, sir, to every family listening to home and abroad. Even if the government is not listening to you, we hear you. Even if they don't see your pressure, we see the pressure. Even if they don't see your frustration, we see the frustration. And we will not accept a Fiji where hardship is normalized and accountability is optional. Mr. Speaker, sir, to the government, to my honorable colleagues on the other side, my message is simple. Fix the basics, follow the Constitution, respect the people, or the people will replace you this year. Mr. Speaker, sir, I repeat this. Fix the basics, follow the Constitution, Respect the people or they will replace you. Mr. Speaker, sir, as highlighted by my fellow colleague, Honorable Sanjay Kripal, that Fijians need a leader who knows what's happening and is aware of their government's daily business and operations. Mr. Speaker, sir, Fiji needs a decisive and visionary leader who puts his nation and Fijians first. Mr. Speaker, sir, before I take my seat, I want to take this moment to pay tribute to two very special people in my life. My grandparents, late Bidyawati and late Bisesar Lal. I lost my grandmother in October last year, and just 3 months later, my grandfather followed. They both lived long lives, more than 80 years, and shared nearly 60 beautiful years of marriage together. Mr. Speaker, sir, they were among my biggest supporters. Even though they did not understand English, they would still watch Parliament session on television and cheer proudly for their only grandson who made it to this honorable chamber. Mr. Speaker, sir, my grandmother, after watching me speak, would lovingly complain that I should wear a more colorful tie or trim my beard better. Those small affectionate remarks carried the warmth only a grandparent could understand or give. Mr. Speaker, sir, their lives remind me that no matter who we become or what positions we hold, we must always honor and respect our parents and grandparents. They stand by us unconditionally. That is the spirit of what Fiji is truly about. We are all a family in our own ways, bound by the values of love, respect, and kaivata. Today, I stand here in this chamber carrying not only my own hopes, but also the prayers, love, and sacrifices of those who came before me. May their souls rest in peace, and may their values continue to guide me and all other members in serving our people and our nations. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to acknowledge and wish our women community a happy International Women's Day, a happy Father's Day, also a belated Holi and blessed Ramadan and a blessed year ahead. Thank you very much.
I thank the Honorable Ketsan Lal for his contribution. I now call on the Assistant Minister for Rural and Maritime Development and Disaster Management, the Honorable Sylvester Bodea, to deliver his contribution.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Cabinet Ministers and Assistant Ministers, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Members of Parliament. I rise to support the motion by the Honorable Prime Minister, and this is to the address delivered by His Excellency the President at the opening of the 2026 session of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to echo and support His Excellency in acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land in which we gather today, and for the decades that this seat of government has been established here in Suva. I join His Excellency in paying respect to the Vanua of Nandurmai and to the Turanga, the Tuisuva. I acknowledge His Excellency for outlining the government's legislative priorities and policy direction for the year ahead and beyond. The address was reflective in tone, grounded in history, and forward-looking in ambition. It called for unity, resilience, integrity, and shared responsibility. These are aspirations that every member of this House can support. Mr. Speaker, sir, His Excellency invited us to reflect on our shared journey as a nation, from the deed of cession through independence in 1970 to present day. This reflection on our history is not merely ceremonial, it is instructive, offering guidance as we navigate the challenges of today and tomorrow. His Excellency reiterates and calls for unity despite our diversity in such a time where there is uncertainty at the global and regional levels. Mr. Speaker, sir, I fully align with His Excellency's emphasis on the vital role of collaboration in driving national progress. True development depends on strong partnerships among landowners, government, the private sector, and the development partners, built on transparency, trust, and a shared long-term vision. The Tauke concept of Saindoko na Kari-Kari, which His Excellency has repeatedly drawn our attention to, aptly captures the kind of leadership our nation requires, and this is critical juncture. At this critical juncture, it calls for courage, accountability, and unity, leadership, and accepts the burden not reluctantly, but with resolve and clarity of the purpose in service of the nation. Mr. Speaker, sir, traditional leaders are central to this effort. They must guide communities with clarity and foresight, foster innovation, and ensure that land and sea resources are utilized purposefully while safeguarding our culture and identity. Through principled leadership and strategic partnerships, the Tauke institutions must seize the moment without delay. When land and resources are used aligned with national priorities, it becomes a foundation for resilience, dignity, and shared prosperity. I also believe that the government should also take heed of the needs of the people, respecting cultural context in which development is to progress. Nevertheless, there must be strong leadership and good governance in any community, in villages as well as settlements, that are governed by district advisory councillors and special administrators in the case of municipal councils. These are crucial factors for any development, whether it be national, divisional, provincial, district, or community. Mr. Speaker, sir, for this reason, I wish to acknowledge His Excellency's recognition of the crucial role that our rural and maritime communities play in advancing national development. Mr. Speaker, sir, as rightly mentioned by His Excellency, rural and maritime development must no longer be relegated to the margins of national planning and should no longer be viewed as secondary or approached as fragmented, standalone community initiatives, a tendency that has persisted since the colonial era. Instead, rural and maritime development must be embedded at the core of our national strategy with sustained investment and coordinated planning. I echo the late Turang Natwinayao, former Prime Minister of Fiji, Ratu Sir Kamisa Samara, and I quote, "The development of rural areas is a solid measure of the progress of the nation." This speaks to a fundamental truth. A country's progress cannot be judged solely by growth of cities or size of its GDP. Mr. Speaker, sir, true national progress is reflected in the living standards of those living in our villages, settlements, and maritime islands, where access to roads, clean water, electricity, healthcare, education, markets determines whether opportunity is shared equitably. These areas are home to the majority of our people, custodians of our land and cultural heritage, and vital contributors to our economy through agriculture, fisheries, and natural resources. When rural communities thrive, when farmers can access value chains, when young people can find livelihoods close to home, when basic services are reliable and resilient, then development is balanced and inclusive. Therefore, investing in rural development is not charity or peripheral policy. It is a clear and measurable indicator of whether our growth is just sustainable and truly national in character. Mr. Speaker, sir, your Ministry of Rural and Maritime Development and Disaster Risk Management plays a central role in turning this principle into reality by ensuring that development reaches the most remote and undeserved communities. Through our 7 development programs, the ministry prioritizes the following areas: infrastructure development, water and sanitation access, improved access to rural housing, enhanced economic livelihoods. Mr. Speaker, sir, His Excellency clearly positions the primary sectors, agriculture, fisheries, forestry, and our broader natural resources as central to rural transformation and national resilience. The speech affirms these sectors as vital to livelihoods and food security, focusing on climate-smart practices, better water and land management, while shifting from raw commodity exports towards value addition and innovation to retain more wealth and jobs locally. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Rural and Outer Island Program of the Ministry endeavors to create this enabling space for resource owners, actively improving rural farm access and infrastructure, as well as supporting rural producers with technical assistance and agricultural implements to boost productivity. Through a Rural and Outer Island Program, a total of 54 community farm access roads spanning 270.8 kilometers have been constructed nationwide, of which 134.5 kilometers in the Northern Division, 54.9 kilometers in the Western Division, 54.4 kilometers in the Central Division, and 27 kilometers in the Eastern Division. These investments are intended to improve reaches to markets, services, and opportunities for rural farmers and communities. Mr. Speaker, sir, as part of this strategy, construction has commenced on 2 agricultural processing facilities in Ngau, focusing on Angona and cassava processing. Similarly, fisheries processing facilities in Lakemba and Vio Island will enable our fisherfolk to transition into commercial operations, improve product quality, and access higher value markets. These initiatives are designed to establish rural manufacturing hubs that add value to local resources, strengthen export growth, and create niche markets within Fiji. Above all, they aim to empower rural communities, create employment, and build resilient local economies. Mr. Speaker, sir, I echo the sentiment shared by His Excellency that we recognize the private sector as the engine for growth in our country. In all the ministry's programs that I have mentioned above, we would not be progressing without the engagement of private sector companies and business to construct roads and buildings, build or supply boats and engines, supply materials for our rural housing assistance program, and so on. This is promoting public-private partnership at community level. Mr. Speaker, sir, I appreciate His Excellency's profound statement that there will be special emphasis placed on empowering interior, rural, and maritime economies so that development reaches every province and island. Mr. Speaker, sir, our ministry is committed to support resource-based sectors for economic diversification and value addition. These are important for our rural, remote, as well as maritime communities to unlock a great potential and open up doors of opportunities. To unlock a great, we are gradually expanding our service delivery in this space through our Rural and Outer Island program, but we are treading cautiously as we try to fully understand the underlying principles that will enable successful small business to flourish, to become exporters through the rural and maritime development value chain framework. Mr. Speaker, sir, we cannot progress without also giving due consideration to building the human resource capital for our nation. Investing in our children and the education system is critical if we have to ensure that future growth is sustainable. We must recognize the talents and skill sets that would necessitate this. I totally support the prioritization given to review the Education Act and the holistic review of our education system and the approach being adopted to reduce barriers for learners, particularly in the interior, rural and maritime areas. It is common knowledge that our rural children migrate to urban areas for better school opportunities and to pursue their career dreams. With technology available, Mr. Speaker, sir, I hope that our education institutions will soon set up satellite institutions in the maritime islands that will enable children of the Lao group remain in the islands and be able to pursue diploma and degree programs without having to relocate to Suva and never return home until after 1 or 2 decades. They could remain in the islands and still live a healthy lifestyle and contribute to the economic growth of their village, Tikina, and province. Whilst I know that this requires a collaborative effort of all the key stakeholders, I believe that this dream is achievable but requires shared vision and commitment. Mr. Speaker, sir, His Excellency reminds us that development is a collective endeavor, dependent on the collaboration of every sector of our nation. Our ministry continues to strengthen partnerships with these stakeholders through coordination, dialogue, and resource sharing on the ground. As the ministry advances the finalization of the National Rural Development Policy consultations across sectors and committees have consistently underscored the need for stronger collaboration and coordination among all stakeholders. This reflects the very essence of the policy that development partners must work collectively rather than in isolation, sharing responsibilities and resources to achieve common goals. Such an integrated approach will lay the foundation for inclusivity, sustainability, and long-term national transformation. It would be remiss of me, Mr. Speaker, sir, not to acknowledge the various partners, regional and international, that continue to show their commitment to improving the lives of our people. UNDP, through the Governance for Resilience program, in providing support in improving communication network, advancing work on minimum standard designs for our infrastructure projects, technical and financial support in advancing the National Rural Development Policy, International Organization for Migration, IOM, and Korea International Cooperation Agency, KOICA, for their support in constructing 4 new evacuation centers, to name a few. Just before I conclude, Mr. Speaker, sir, I just want to highlight a few areas that caught my attention whilst going through the responses from the leader of the opposition to the presidential addresses, right from 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026, the current one. The main source of my materials are from the Hansard report, and I believe that the one yesterday is still in the draft form. The leader of the opposition then, in 2023, began his attack on government and His Excellency the President right from the very start of his contribution. And he was full of anger and animosity. He was just like someone who cannot accept defeat and was trying his best to hang on to power either by hook or by crook. I only hope that that type of leadership does not come back to haunt this parliament again in future. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is not so with the current leader of the opposition, where his response to the presidential address in 2025 mentioned in the United Kingdom, the leader of the opposition is sometimes referred to as the leader of His Majesty's most loyal opposition, depicting that the opposition was not considered an enemy nor disloyal to anyone, but they play a very important role in any constitutional democracy. He went on to say that we, the opposition, will endeavor to work with government on matters that unite us as a nation. However, just listening to some commentaries from that side of the House in yesterday and today's deliberation, there seems to be a lot of finger pointing and to some extent contributions deeply rooted in personal and political vendetta. And I want to remind them that when you point a finger at your neighbor, three more pointing back at you. Very important. A proverb reminding us that when accusing or criticizing others, your own flaws and shortcomings are often exposed. In closing, Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank His Excellency for a very inspiring address, and I thank you for the opportunity to contribute in the debate this afternoon. Thank you very much.
I thank the Honorable Chavez over there, the Assistant Minister for Rural and Maritime Development and Disaster Management, for his contribution. I will next invite the Honorable Virendra Lal to speak on the motion. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Cabinet Ministers and Assistant Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, those present in the gallery, and those watching live through various digital devices, ladies and gentlemen, Nisambula Vinaka, Jai Shri Ram, and a very good afternoon to you all. First of all, I would like to thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Fiji, for his most gracious speech. It is our duty as elected MPs to see that everyone is treated equally and demand honesty, integrity, and genuine commitment to the welfare of every member of our community. A nation cannot move forward when its leadership is distracted, divided, and disconnected from the realities of the ground. For any nation to prosper, we need disciplined governance, clear national priorities, transparent decision-making, and a public service empowered to deliver. Mr. Speaker, sir, signs of our struggles are clearly visible in daily life in the form of rising cost of living, in the collapse of rural livelihoods, in the exodus of young people, in the spread of drugs, in the increase of crime, in the erosion of public trust, and in the quiet despair of families who feel forgotten by those meant to serve them. Mr. Speaker, sir, I appreciate the speech given by His Excellency, the President, to the Parliament, where he talked about the government's projected economic growth and social advancement. Primarily, I support the drive to increase investment, create sustainable industries, and enhance trade opportunities. Yet, I, as an opposition MP, believe it is essential to look at the more tangible aspects needed to achieve these goals. Mr. Speaker, sir, while His Excellency rightly noted the uncertain global economic environment, the implications of these developments deserve closer scrutiny. Mr. Speaker, sir, over the past week, we have observed significant geopolitical tensions within the Middle East. The war involving the United States, Israel, and Iran is already having a significant impact on world commodity prices. The price of crude oil increased to over $100 a barrel yesterday. It came down to $85 today. but is expected to rise again amidst the uncertainty surrounding the prolongation of the war in the Middle East. By way of context, Mr. Speaker, sir, the bulk of the world's oil exports originates from the Middle East. More precisely, it passes through the Strait of Hormuz, a 55-kilometer wide passage between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. At present, Iranian military has caused a closure of the Strait of Hormuz, essentially choking the global oil supply chain. Ships are therefore reluctant to pass through the strait, as one oil tanker has already been struck by Iran. Mr. Speaker, these events will not just have a direct impact on oil prices, they will have many ripple effects, starting from a sharp increase in the cost of insurance. Mr. Speaker, say, in global trade, marine insurance has significant impact on freight prices, since Fiji predominantly imports the bulk of its goods, and also most raw materials that are manufactured locally will inevitably see prices of not just fuel, but all goods and services rise over the short term as a result of an increase in global freight rates. Mr. Speaker, say, fuel and freight prices are a major contributor to inflation. Since we follow a one-month lag period for fuel pricing in Fiji, we could see pump prices rising from as early as next month. These will drive up transportation costs, which could see public transport providers demanding a fare increase. Shipping and logistic providers locally would also want to increase their prices to offset the increased fuel cost. We could also see energy prices rise, which will mean businesses' overhead expenses would increase. Who would all of these costs end up being passed on to, Mr. Speaker? The consumer. The ordinary Fijian will inevitably end up paying more for almost everything, which is essentially a rise in the cost of living. Mr. Speaker, say, I understand that the causation factors are global, and Fiji does not have influence over world commodity prices that are driven up by trade wars or geopolitical tensions. What we have control over, however, are prices once they reach our borders. That is where the role of government comes in. It is up to the government on whether they want to introduce initiatives that could provide relief to ordinary Fijians. Mr. Speaker, sir, the government cannot effectively force businesses to absorb the increased costs because we have a free market economy. Most prices are subject to supply and demand, except in the cases of certain essential items that are regulated. However, even those regulated items would see prices increase when input costs increase. Mr. Speaker, say, what the government can do to insulate consumers from a sudden shock is to subsidize prices at the point of sale. Mr. Speaker, say, these can be in the form of direct or indirect subsidies, and I trust that economics at the Ministry of Finance would be able to advise the government through a more detailed analysis, considering they are more familiar with government's current position. We on this side of the House do not have access to those data, so we all can do is estimate and project. However, Mr. Speaker, say, more importantly, what we can successfully project for the government without requiring data is that the outcome of these upcoming elections will hinge significantly on the government's ability to firstly reduce the already high cost of living, and secondly, insulate consumers from the price increases that are to come. On the health sector, Mr. Speaker, say, our country's well-being and future depend on a commitment to healthcare and education. While progress has been achieved in renovating healthcare facilities and improving medical services, it is critical to emphasize the recruitment and retention of healthcare personnel to overcome current shortages and offer quality treatment to all Fijians. On this side of the House, we support a people-centered and evidence-based health system. This is an essential priority for our country. However, the test of our resolve and commitment to this issue is not in summits and speeches, but in actual delivery. Many of our people in our rural, maritime, and interior areas continue to face a shortage of doctors, essential medicine, and service delivery. Therefore, if we are to deliver on the issue of equity, we must ensure that there is an adequate supply of doctors and essential medicine. Mr. Speaker said, prevention must also be accompanied by actual investment in community outreach, health education, mental health support, and non-communicable diseases. While the Health Transformation Summit is a good initiative, we must see actual results. What are the actual deliverables of this summit? What are the actual targets of this summit? How will we evaluate this and report to this Parliament and to our people? Legislative reform must involve actual consultation and with health professionals and communities to ensure that the laws remain practical and responsive to actual issues. Mr. Speaker said, the opposition is ready to support actual reform in the health sector. However, we will hold the government to account. Our people deserve actual results and not just promises. As the opposition, Mr. Speaker said, we are dedicated to working with the government to pass laws and policies that benefit all Fijians, respect democratic ideals, and promote societal well-being. Let us participate in constructive discourse, rigorous debate, and comprehensive supervision to accomplish our common goals of Fijian growth, prosperity, and solidarity. Honourable Speaker, let me now respond to President's address on housing and upgrade of informal settlements. From this side of the House, we support the overall intent of better living conditions and greater access to formal and well-planned housing. Housing is a basic need rather than a privilege. Upgrading informal settlements and providing development research are positive actions, and we acknowledge the successes in the Western, Northern, and Central divisions. However, it is critical to look beyond the figures. While we have achieved 48 development leases and upgraded 3 informal settlements, a great number of people in Fiji continue to suffer in ignored conditions, flooding, poor sanitation, and insecure living conditions. Upgrading informal settlements must keep pace with the enormity of the task. Long-term leases may provide security, but people still require affordable building materials, necessities, good drainage, roads, electricity, and potable water. Without these necessities, formalization alone will not improve living conditions. Mr. Speaker said, we support the government's initiative to assist first-time homeowners through the Housing Authority, Public Rental Board, and Fiji Development Bank. However, a great number of working people still face problems with escalating construction costs, rising interest rates, and increasing land costs. It is critical to ensure that housing finance schemes are within reach of the low and middle income earners. The opposition is ready to support housing reform in a transparent and accelerated manner. Our people deserve better than just long-term leases. They deserve safe, affordable, and resilient living conditions to enable them to prosper. Honourable Speaker, I would like to thank His Excellency for his address, and I believe we share the same perspective on the land, sea, and airspace of Fiji. It is a strategic asset essentially linked with the concept of the Itoke people's identity and custodianship. However, we need to be mindful of the term underutilized land. Land not commercially exploited is not underutilized. It is a land where the present and the future can thrive. Before we encourage landowners to unlock the land's resources, we need to remove the obstacles, the lack of infrastructure, access to finances, market linkages, and the lease structure. Mr. Speaker said, while we support the initiatives on agriculture, tourism, renewable energy, and housing, we believe true unity comes with transparency. Landowners need to get a fair return. The environment needs to be protected, and Golingoli and forest conservation need to be upheld for the present and the future. Leadership is also about accountability. Traditional leadership needs to be supported with technical expertise and a governance structure that is not politicized and not made cumbersome through a lack of resources. While we support the empowerment of the Banua, we will ensure that the concept of development brings dignity and progress to our people. Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank His Excellency for his address at the beginning of this legislative session on the issue of the build-up towards a general election. We, the opposition, agree that the outcome of the election must be a contest of ideas, not a contest of fears or divisions. We agree that the strength of a democracy is measured by the integrity of our leaders and the ability of our citizens to exercise their franchise freely and without any fear of reprisal. Honorable Speaker, however, the respect for the rule of law, for the integrity of the electoral process, requires more than mere rhetoric. It requires the rule of law to be upheld and the institutions that are entrusted with the responsibility of running the electoral process to be independent, transparent, and well-funded. We also agree that the call for constructive dialogue among the people of our multicultural nation must be heeded. Our diversity is a strength, and no leader must use ethnicity, religion, or any other attribute of a citizen for political expediency. At the same time, however, unity does not mean the suppression of dissenting views, however constructive they might be. In fact, dissenting views are the very foundation of a true democracy. His Excellency, the President spoke of a vision of a new Fiji, a Fiji that is confident, inclusive, and resilient. That vision must be translated into tangible gains for the citizens of this nation. Jobs, a decent standard of living, quality health, and quality education. That vision must be judged by the people, not by the rhetoric of the leader, but by the actual gains that the citizens make. We need to put people first. Mr. Speaker, sir, I now seek your permission to speak in Hindi. इस सत्र के उद्घाटन पर राष्ट्रपति महोदय ने देश के लिए कुछ नीति नियमों की घोषणा की है और ये सरकार के ऊपर है कि वह किस तरह से इन नीतियों को लागू करे ताकि देश प्रगति करे। और सबसे पहले सरकार के खर्च में कटौती करने पर ध्यान देना होगा, खासकर जबकि अभी मध्य पूर्व में यानी कि मिडिल ईस्ट में युद्ध यानी कि कॉन्फ्लिक्ट लड़ाई जारी है और इसके कारण से जो ईंधन है, फ्यूल है, इसके दाम में भारी वृद्धि होने की संभावना है। और हम सभी जानते हैं कि अभी एक बैरल क्रूड ऑयल का दाम लगभग डबल हो गया है, 60 से वो बढ़ करके $100 हो गया है, ये ऊपर नीचे जा रहा है। और इस कारण से हमारा जो फ्यूल के दाम है इसमें भारी वृद्धि होगी। और हम सभी जानते हैं कि फ्यूल अभी जो शिपिंग कंपनियां हैं फ्यूल पहुंचाने में, फ्यूल देश लाने में काफ़ी खतरा का सामना कर रही हैं। तो इस कारण से हमारा जो फ्रेट है इसमें भी वृद्धि होगी और इस फ्रेट इस कारण से भी वृद्धि होगी क्योंकि देश में हम लोग काफ़ी कुछ यहाँ आयात करते हैं, इंपोर्ट करते हैं। और उतना ही नहीं, देश में भी काफ़ी कुछ जो यहाँ खुद हम बनाते हैं इसके लिए जो रॉ मटेरियल्स है, कच्चा माल है, वो भी हम विदेश से लेकर आते हैं। तो इसका मतलब है कि लगभग सभी सामानों में हम वृद्धि देखेंगे। जहाँ पर सामानों के दाम में वृद्धि होगी तो हम ये कह रहे हैं कि सरकार को ये देखना होगा कि किस तरह से हम जो खर्च है इसे कम कर सकते हैं। और हम देख रहे हैं कि एक रास्ता हो सकता है कि जो वेट है इसमें कटौती की जाए। आप जानते हैं कि जब ये सरकार आई थी तो इन्होंने वेट 9 से बढ़ा करके 15% कर दिया था। हालांकि शायद उस वक्त इसकी बहुत ज़रूरत भी नहीं थी क्योंकि फिजी की अर्थव्यवस्था उस वक्त बहुत अच्छा कर रही थी। फिजी वॉज वन ऑफ द 5 मोस्ट फास्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमीज इन द वर्ल्ड उस समय। तो देश की खैर जो भी हुआ लेकिन अब हम ये सोच रहे हैं और हम सरकार को ये सलाह दे रहे हैं कि हमें ऐसा कुछ करना पड़ेगा। और मैं ये भी बता दूं कि जो वेट में वृद्धि हुई थी, उस वृद्धि से कल अभी हमने यहाँ इसी संसद में पूर्व उप प्रधानमंत्री माननीय कमिता जी ने इस संसद में ये कहा कि जो वृद्धि हुई थी वेट में, जो आमदनी हुई थी, उस आमदनी को हमने सोशल प्रोटेक्शन और बैक टू स्कूल में खर्च किया है। वास्तव में जब हम इन्वेस्ट करते हैं देश में, कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर ऐसा कुछ करते हैं जिससे कि वापस आमदनी देश में आवे, लेकिन ऐसा कुछ नहीं हुआ, तो हम पैसा यहाँ पर खर्च कर रहे हैं। और समस्याएं हैं सरकार से, जैसे कि स्प्रेड ऑफ ड्रग्स। अभी आप देख रहे हैं देश के लगभग कई इलाकों में, आप सभी इससे वाकिफ है कि कहाँ कहाँ नशीले पदार्थ पाए जा रहे हैं। इस तरह से समस्याएं सामने आ रही हैं। और केवल नशीले पदार्थ नहीं, इससे HIV की समस्या भी देश में बहुत बढ़ रही है। और हमारे अस्पताल, यहाँ तक कि सेंट जॉर्ज में आज वहाँ पर जगह नहीं है, क्योंकि लोगों की मानसिक स्थिति ठीक नहीं है। और इसके अलावा अपराध की दर आप देख रहे हैं, देश में बहुत अपराध बढ़ रहे हैं। यहाँ तक कि अभी आपने जो हाल में सुना है कि पुलिस अफसर का भी इसमें मृत्यु हुई है इस संबंध में। तो बहुत सारे समस्याएं देश में हैं जिसे हमें सुलझाना होगा। और इन समस्याओं के कारण से हमारे कई युवा लोग, जो युवा पीढ़ी है, ये देश छोड़कर जा रहे हैं। और कई समस्याएं हैं। खास रूप से हम देख रहे हैं सेवाएं अभी नहीं उपलब्ध हैं। इराकी में कल मुझे पता लगा है कि वहाँ पर धान काटने वाली मशीन जो है वो बिगड़ी खड़ी है। और उतना ही नहीं, जो ट्रक मशीन को लेकर जाती है, वो ट्रक भी बिगड़ा पड़ा है। तो कई सेवाएं हैं। मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि हमें जो काफ़ी लोग ऑनलाइन सर्विसेज नहीं प्रोवाइड कर पा रहे हैं, नहीं जानते हैं इस बारे में, तो सरकार को इसकी व्यवस्था करनी चाहिए। Mr. Speaker said, the success of our democracy depends on the contribution of all of us, including the opposition. And we are prepared to make our contribution, not only by participating in the electoral process, but also by ensuring that the outcome of the election does not undermine the very foundation of our democracy. I urge the government to go beyond words and slogans and take practical steps to establish an inclusive, sustainable, and just Fiji. God bless Fiji. Thank you. Vinakapakalevu. Dhanyavad.
I thank the Honorable Virendra Lal for his contribution. I would have allowed you a few more minutes if you had continued speaking in Hindi. Thank you. Now I'll call on next on the Minister for Education, the Honorable Aseri Ndondo, for his contribution to the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. The Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Leader of Opposition, Deputy Prime Minister, fellow Cabinet Ministers, Assistant Ministers, and the Honorable Members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise today to offer the support of the Ministry of Education to the Honorable Prime Minister's motion on His Excellency the President's opening Parliament address. His Excellency has laid before us a vision that is bold, principled, and uncompromising in its call for national progress. And as we stand in election year, the people of Fiji are watching closely. They want to know which leaders have the courage to make a difficult decision, who has the political will to drive real reform, and who has delivered results over the past 3 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, this coalition government has chosen the harder path, the path of rebuilding, restructuring, and restoring integrity to our national institutions. And nowhere has this been more evident than in the education sector. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me be very clear. The reforms we have undertaken in the last 3 years have not been easy. They have required political courage, administrative discipline, and a willingness to confront long-standing weaknesses that previous governments ignored or avoided. When we assumed office, we inherited a fragmented education system, outdated legislation from 1966, weak curriculum standards, poor learning outcomes, infrastructural neglect, a demoralized teaching workforce, and institutions that had drifted from their core mission. It would have been easy to maintain the status quo. It would have been easy to avoid difficult reforms, but this coalition government chose progress over convenience. And today, Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand proudly to say we have delivered, we have reformed, and we have laid the foundation for a stronger education system for the next generation. His Excellency reminded us that 152 years ago, the Dido of Session placed education and civilization at the heart of Fiji's development. And today, that mandate is not only historical, it is political, moral, and urgent. We thank the Methodist Church of Fiji and Rotuma for accepting the challenge that our education system faces in terms of moral values and student behavior. And this year, the Methodist Church calendar has scheduled the Madhoni Buli prior to the beginning of the academic year as a yearly event where issues related to education, such as drugs, are discussed. This government has made education a national priority, Mr. Speaker, sir, because we understand that a nation that invests in its people secures its future. As in the 2025-26 budget allocation, 847 million was budgeted to the education sector, with 675 million to the Ministry of Education alone. This is a deliberate, strategic investment in the future of every Fijian child. The 2023 Denarau Declaration, the Fiji National Development Plan, and Vision 2025 is the backbone of our reform agenda. It sets out 7 thematic pillars that guide every decision that we make, from curriculum reform to teacher development, from infrastructure to digital transformation. This government is not patching holes, Mr. Speaker, sir. We are rebuilding the system from the ground up. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Education Bill 2025 is the most significant legislative reform in more than 60 years. The 1966 Act belongs to a colonial era. It cannot serve a modern Fiji. And the new bill will establish a national curriculum advisory and assessment authority, will enforce compulsory education with real accountability, regulate ECE, primary, secondary, TVET, and higher education under one coherent framework, introduce provisions for homeschooling and private schools, mandate a future-ready curriculum, including AI, digital literacy, climate change, civic responsibility, and cultural identity. This bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, is not just a legal document, it is the architect of Fiji's future. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Fiji Education Commission early findings are clear that we must move from exam-driven schooling to learning first, a system that values critical thinking, problem solving, and real learning outcomes. The data is sobering that over 80% of schools report Year 4 students below math standard. Nearly 2/3 report Year 4 students below reading and writing standards. And almost half of secondary schools Year 9 entrant are below proficiency. These findings, Mr. Speaker, sir, justifies the scale and urgency of our reforms. Mr. Speaker, sir, in October 2025, we launched the Yabutu program, a US $5 million initiative supported by GPE, UNICEF, and DFED. Yabutu ensures that every child, including those with disabilities and those in remote communities, receive quality early childhood education. A strong foundation is not optional, it is essential. Mr. Speaker, sir, the 2025 LANA results show real progress. Year 5 literacy increased from 90% to 95%. And Year 7 literacy increased from 93% to 95%. But numeracy remains a challenge. In Year 5, numeracy stagnant at 74%, and Year 7 numeracy declined from 83% to 81%. And we are responding with a targeted numeracy strategy, and I will report back to this House on its implementation. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Year 13 Flexible Pathways Program is already being piloted in 11 schools. It provides a structured transition to tertiary education, tertiary-style learning experiences, and vocational and workforce-ready pathways. This is how we prepare young people for the real world, not by chance, but by design. Mr. Speaker, sir, the new curriculum will integrate digital literacy and AI, climate change and sustainability, civic responsibility and discipline, Wasavabiti and Hindi, health, nutrition, and physical education. We will also strengthen digital media literacy to combat misinformation, a growing threat to national unity, especially in an election year. Mr. Speaker, sir, technical vocational education training, or TVET, is central to creating decent work and empowering rural and maritime communities. Over 90% of TVET graduates secure employment within months, and we are expanding these pathways and aligning them with industry needs. For the first time ever, the Ministry of Education National TVET Skills Fair was hosted at the HFC Bank Stadium, providing a platform for student projects and industry talent scouting, which will be an annual event. Mr. Speaker, sir, as we prepare our children for the technological world we live in, the Ministry of Education is investing in e-learning platforms that will allow students to access quality online learning resources. And these platforms include the Moodle, a widely used learning management system that supports interactive lessons, assessment, and teacher engagements. The system is currently being piloted with Year 13 flexi schools that will expand the horizon of students for exploration learning. Full implementation will take place in 2027 for all the schools, taking into consideration electricity, connectivity, and geographical locations. The GIGA implementation, as Fiji, as the first East Asian nation in the GIGA initiative, had trained 746 schools across its 4 divisions on the GIGA meter, and now has 772 schools live on the GIGA dashboard for real-time internet connectivity status updates. Education Perfect. The ministry has entered into an online learning tool subscription agreement with Education Perfect Limited. The objective is to enhance education services for students through an online learning platform. Currently, we are verifying with vendors to agree on the implementation and contractual arrangements. Digital audio and video broadcasting studio. The Ministry of Education now has 2 studios and 1 editing room to support the development of educational audio, video, and graphic materials for students. The Australian Fiji Education Program provided financial boost for the recording of the materials, and 63 examination revision video lessons were developed, and these lessons were aired on the Walesi TV program and uploaded on the Educational Hub and the Ministry's media platform. The FAMIS and FESA system, the system which integrates student data and learning resources to improve access and monitoring. Numeracy exams, teacher history, assisting teacher placement and teacher appointments, and data input from school levels needed to be accurate, timely, and complete to allow effective utilization of FAMIS and FESA. These platforms, Mr. Speaker, sir, have been rolled out progressively with training provided to teachers, to staff, to ensure effective integration into the classroom. The goal is to ensure that every child in Fiji, regardless of location, has access to the same quality of education through digital means. Mr. Speaker, sir, Cabinet has endorsed the student progression and retention policy to strengthen learning outcomes and ensure students have advanced through the education system with the necessary foundational knowledge and skills with clear guidance on retention where learning benchmarks are not met. In addition, the scaling of marks for national education has been reintroduced for Year 12, Year 8, and Year 13 national examination to promote equity, fairness, and national credibility in the assessment while ensuring that no student is at disadvantage during the transition. Our commitment to equity is demonstrated through free education, pre-primary and secondary education, a 100% tertiary fee subsidy for eligible students, infrastructure investment in rural and maritime schools, decentralized service delivery, inclusive education provisions in the education bill. Compulsory education provisions will ensure that every child is enrolled and attending schools. Persistent non-compliance may result in penalties, not to punish parents, but to protect children. Honorable Speaker, sir, education must remain the cornerstone of our nation's development. Today, I am pleased to report that government assistance under the Back to School program has reached approximately over 200,000 children, representing 98% of those who requested this support. The remaining 2% have yet to receive assistance. I encourage to check with their children's respective schools and complete the application process. To ensure that no child is left behind, the Ministry of Education has extended the deadline for application until this Friday. Parents and guardians can access the forms online, fill the forms accurately, and get it stamped by the school heads to ensure that they are bona fide students, and drop it at the divisional education officers, who will forward it to the Ministry of Education headquarters. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have established 13 new schools, 13 new secondary schools in disadvantaged and remote areas. 7 have already been opened, and 3 schools established in 2005 yet to be opened, which is Totoya Secondary, Matuku Secondary, and Wanikeli Junior Secondary. The 7 schools that were opened in 2026 included Namuka Junior Secondary School, Ratumeli Memorial Secondary School, Nawaka College, Naweni Secondary School, Asawa South Secondary School, Namboro Junior Secondary School, and Nandronga Navosa Provincial College. The remaining 3, Nalamba District Secondary School, Nangonidolo Junior Secondary School, and Tokemalo Junior Secondary School, are in the final stages of preparation for their final official opening, which is anticipated shortly. These schools will accommodate Year 9 class only, with minimal student numbers of 20 required to begin operations, commencing with Year 9 classes this year and Year 10 classes every year onwards. This will ensure that students in remote and disadvantaged communities are able to access secondary education closer to home. Mr. Speaker, sir, Cabinet has endorsed the establishment of the National Research Council, legislated under the National Research Council Act 2017, which provides for the legal framework for the Council and oversees the National Research Fund. This Council will be appointed in the near future. At TSLS, I'm proud to confirm that there has been a significant increase in TSLS support to all eligible students. Out of the 22,151 who are currently on full scholarship, over 10,000 students are on new scholarship, which included 320 who have opted for tuition-only option. Mr. Speaker, sir, our progress is not achieved in isolation. We acknowledge with deep gratitude the support of our development partners. The government of Japan has funded the construction of classrooms and facilities under its grant assistance for grassroots human security projects, including new classrooms and solar system for schools such as Namalata District School, Ratu Nadanglevu Memorial School, Tangange and Naburibure District School, to name a few. These grassroots projects recommence after a lapse of 5 years due to poor governance and accountability with the stakeholders. Mr. Speaker, sir, with under United Arabs Red Crescent Partnership with the Fijian government, it has commenced phase 2 of the MOU signing for the building of 2 duplex quarters for Ratu Simeone Martin Tombo College, Singatoka Methodist High School, and Moira College. And work should commence by second quarter of 2026. The Australian government, through the Fiji-Australian Vuvale Partnership, continues to provide substantial development assistance. DFAT is supporting water sanitation and hygiene facilities in 45 schools along the Suvarnasori corridor, benefiting around 30,000 students. We also thank the Australian government for the audit that was done in the Suvarnasori corridor, and we hope that future discussions will undertake audit for schools in the Nandronga to Ra corridor and the Northern Division to give us current status of WAS facilities and school conditions. The new schools that will be constructed under these programs are the Wilevu Secondary School, Patuanga Primary School, and Suva Primary School. And preliminary work has started on these projects. We also acknowledge other bilateral partners who provide scholarships, teacher training and technical support, strengthening our education system, and ensuring that our children have access to quality learning environments. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to speak directly to our teachers. For the teachers, you are entrusted with the lives, minds, and future of our children. Your influence is profound. Your decision shapes the next generation. In an election year, when emotions run high and misinformation spreads easily, I urge our teachers to remain focused on their noble calling. Your classrooms remain places of learning, not arenas of political influence, and your decisions must prioritize the safety, well-being, and development of our children. We trust our teachers, and with that trust comes accountability. Mr. Speaker, sir, I also highlight a milestone achievement that speaks directly to the political will and leadership this coalition government has demonstrated. For 16 long years, the Ministry of Education had no meaningful engagement with the teacher unions of these countries. 16 years without structured dialogue, 16 years without genuine consultation, and 16 years where the voices of teachers, the very people who carry the weight of our education system, was sidelined. Under this leadership, that era has ended. Mr. Speaker, sir, this government has restored the spirit of partnership and goodwill with the teacher unions. We have reopened the doors of dialogue. We have re-established formal consultation mechanisms, and we have done so not out of political convenience, but out of respect for the teaching profession and a commitment to building a stronger, more collaborative engagement system. Mr. Speaker, sir, this renewed partnership has already produced tangible progress, improved teacher deployment process, transparent dialogue on promotions and appointments, collaborative work on teacher welfare and professional development, joint participation in policy discussions, including curriculum reform and school governance, a shared commitment to improving learning outcomes for our children. This is what political will looks like. This is what leadership looks like, and this is what progress looks like. Mr. Speaker, sir, I now turn to an issue that threatens the very soul of our nation. Fiji is facing a drug crisis. Not a distant threat, but a present danger. Not a problem for tomorrow, a national emergency today. We are seeing increased drug trafficking, the targeting of school children as carriers or couriers, the infiltration of communities by organized networks, the rising addiction among youths, and a deeply alarming surge in HIV cases linked to needle sharing and drug use. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is not just a law and order issue, this is a national survival issue. We cannot and we will not allow our children to be used as pawns in the drug trade. And we cannot and will not allow drugs to destroy the future of this nation. And we cannot and will not stand by while HIV infections rise because of preventable dangerous behaviors linked to drug use. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is not just a law and order issue, this is a national survival issue. The Ministry of Education is not fighting this battle alone. We have forged strong partnership with the Fiji Police Force, the Ministry of Health and Medical Services, Ministry of Youth and Sports, Ministry of Women, international governments and development partners, civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, and community leaders. And together, we are implementing school-based drug awareness programs, early warning reporting system, counseling and rehabilitation pathways, HIV prevention and education campaigns, community outreach, and parental engagement. Mr. Speaker, sir, if we do not act now, we risk losing an entire generation. But if we stand united, government, schools, families, communities, we can save Fiji from this path of destruction. Let this be our rallying cry, not our children, not our school, not our future. Mr. Speaker, sir, in conclusion, education is a foundation upon which we build our nation's future. With the support of our government, development partners, and our communities, We are ensuring that every child in Fiji has the opportunity to learn, opportunity to grow, and opportunity to thrive. And together, we are not only investing in classrooms and scholarship, we're investing in digital platforms that connect our children to the world of knowledge. We're investing in the dreams and potentials of our young people. Let us continue to work hand in hand to build a stronger, a smarter, and more resilient Fiji through education. Mr. Speaker, sir, this government is not waiting for change. We are delivering it. We are not talking about reform, we are implementing it. We are not promising a better future, we are building it. His Excellency has set the direction. The Ministry of Education is executing the mission, and the people of Fiji will judge us not by our words, but by our results. We wholeheartedly support His Excellency, the President's motion before this House. Thank you very much.
I thank the Honorable Asiri Randrandro, the Minister of Education, for his contribution to the motion. Honorable members, there are 3 more speakers in our today's betting lineup, plus 2 further items on our order paper, one of which is a motion with a list of 6 speakers. In the light of this fact, we will have a short adjournment of half an hour. But before we do, given the lateness of the hour, I will entertain a suspension motion, and I will call upon the Leader of the Government in Parliament to move his motion.
Speaker, I move under Standing Order 6 that so much of Standing Order 23-1 is suspended, so as to allow the House to sit beyond 4:30 p.m. today to complete the remaining items listed in today's order paper.
Thank you. Is there a seconder?
Honourable Speaker, I second the motion.
Honorable Thambuya, I now call upon the Leader of the Government in Parliament to speak on his motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As you mentioned, sir, we have 3 speakers left, and of course the motions under schedule, plus the number 5 consideration of bills.
Thank you. Honorable members, the floor is now open for debate on the motion, if any. There isn't any. Leader of Government in Parliament.
Do not have any further comments.
Thank you. The Parliament will now vote. The question is that under Standing Order 6, that so much of Standing Order 23, Clause 1, is suspended so as to allow the House to sit beyond 4:30 p.m. today to complete the remaining items listed on today's order paper. Does any member oppose the motion? I hear none. As no member opposes, the motion is agreed to unanimously. Honourable members, we will now suspend proceedings for a break. Parliament will resume in half an hour.